Hello friends, my name is Dalit Soni and you are watching Target UPSC Prelims 2024 Current Affairs section by Drishti IAS. So in this section, we'll be discussing about certain current affairs from your international relations point of view. This will be our 6th episode of IR. There are 5 videos which has been uploaded. You can go and watch those videos. Other than that, various other subjects like economy, polity, etc. has been covered under this Target UPSC Prelims 2024 initiative. So let's start with the 6th episode of IR. We will start with first thing, that is your India-Maldives dispute. Recently, India and Maldives has been in news because there was, after the elections in Maldives, there was this narrative which is saying that Maldives is moving towards China, and in that particular aspect, if we see, Maldives has given a deadline of 10th May for the Indian army to leave the archipelago when we are talking about the Maldives. Okay, so there are some Indian army personnel which are basically posted over there to operate the helicopters, etc., which are provided by India to Maldives for their, you can say, disaster related preparedness or otherwise as well. Okay, so these personnel were there which were operating these equipment. Okay, but after the change in the government, President Muizu has come to power and he has said that these personnel which are operating these equipments over there, they are supposed to leave the country by 10th of May. Other than that, there was another incident wherein a negative comment were made by 3 ministers of Maldives government on the visit of Prime Minister to Lakshadweep. Okay, so our Prime Minister Narendra Modi has visited to Lakshadweep, and in that regard, there was some exchange of words on the internet, and that has actually ignited the tension between India and Maldives. Okay. One more thing is that since we can see that this particular new regime of the government, they are having some kind of inclination towards China. So relation between Maldives and China have deepened amid the dispute with India. Okay. So when we are saying that they are asking us to leave from this particular place, they are collaborating with the China on the security aspect as well. Now coming to the relation between India and Maldives. So when we see the diplomatic relations, which has established or started in 1965, okay, and in 2008, there was this democratic transition which has happened in Maldives, and democratic government has come to the power. And at that particular point of time, India started investing more in Maldives because we are now sharing the same value. Okay, that is the democracy. After that, India has started building up very infrastructure, etc. over there, and we started collaboration on the various levels of defense, security, etc. Okay, so that is how we came really close, and it is located south of India. When we are talking about the location of Maldives, it is somewhere here. Okay, so basically it is you can say in the south, or you can say southwest. Okay, it is located south of India. The Maldives has immense strategic importance in the Indian Ocean region, acting as a gateway to the Arabian Sea and beyond. Okay, so ultimately this area is basically your Arabian Sea. Okay, so it has a strategic location when we are talking about Maldives. Other than that, China wants to have a sway in this Indian Ocean region, and that is why this area of Maldives becomes important for us as well. Okay, so that is the significance, or you can say strategic significance. Other than that, also there are various things. Okay, when we are talking about this area, to monitor the traffic and trade in this particular area, or the freedom of navigation in this area, regional security, Maldives becomes very much important. Okay, that is why India had started to have a good relationship with Maldives, but because of the change in the government, there has arisen some kind of tensions. Okay, that is why Maldives has been in news. So location becomes important. When we started the diplomatic relations, how this transition happened, that becomes important for you. Now, cultural relation, if we see, India and Maldives share deep cultural and the historical ties. Dating back to the 12th century somewhere. In 12th century, there was this Buddhist sect, that is your Vajrayana. It was actually quite prominent over there. So here you can say first half of the 12th century, Buddhism was the dominant religion in Maldives. Vajrayana sect of Buddhism, which existed in the Maldives in the ancient times. So please remember this particular fact that is related to your Vajrayana in Maldives. Okay, other than that, also if we look at the population over there, they have a affinity with the Indian culture as well. Okay, now trade agreement, we have Maldives. When we are talking about India, India is the second largest trading partner of Maldives in 2022. Other than that, Maldives has a tourism based economy, and India is, you can say, most important for them, because most of the tourists from India, they are going to Maldives for the vacation, etc. So since COVID-19 pandemic, Indian travelers have played a significant or leading role in the as the main source of income in the Maldives. Okay, So these are certain things which are important from your Maldives point of view. Other than that, if we look at the security, so here India is a security provider, or you can say India is a first responder in the area. Okay, India has a history of providing security assistance, including the intervention during 1988. In 1988, there was a military coup which has happened against the incumbent government at that point of time. Okay, so at that particular point of time, India has provided support with the operation that the name of the operation was Operation Cactus. Okay, with this operation, India has provided support against the coup which has happened over there. And other than that, we have this joint naval exercises for security of Maldives. There are this exercises which is given Ekuvarin, Dosti, Ekta. All these are the exercises which can be important from your exam point of view. Okay, and these all exercises are basically with Maldives. Okay, and since Maldives is an island nation, most of the exercises over there are basically naval exercises. Okay, now 8-degree channel separates the Indian Minicoy, that is part of your Lakshadweep, and Maldives. Okay, so basically if we see the Maldivian archipelago here, you can see in this particular picture here. So this is the group of islands of our Lakshadweep. Okay, and somewhere we have Minicoy Island over here, and here we have this 8-degree channel. Okay, so that is basically separating the Indian island from the Maldivian. Okay, so that is the map. This is the position of Malay, or you can say Maldives, and you can see if we are talking about the Arabian Sea, Indian Ocean, this is at a very prominent location. Other than that, if we look at this particular area, Chinese trade passes through this particular area, Strait of Malacca. Okay, and so this is how they go to the Arabian Sea. So that is why it becomes important for China as well to have a sway in this particular area, and that is why China is also trying to have a influence in this particular area, and India is trying to counter that. And for that, Maldives becomes important. As a matter of fact, all the other island nations, or you can say small countries over here, they are quite important when we are talking about the Indian Ocean. Okay, and we have talked about these things in various times, so I will not go into details of that. So that is about India and Maldives relations. Now coming to the next article, which is related to your Israel-Hamas issues. Now, October 7th, 2023. Okay, that was the time when Hamas launched an attack on Israel. Okay, Hamas is basically you can say outfit, or you can say an organization which is present in the Gaza Strip area. Okay, we will talk about which area is Gaza Strip and all, but just know that this particular outfit has launched an attack on Israel, and Israel had a lot of casualties because of it, and then Israel wanted to reciprocate, or Israel wanted to retaliate, and they started to go for an attack in the Gaza Strip, and they said that they will eliminate Hamas from that particular area. Now, Israel as a country, they consider Hamas as a terrorist organization. Okay, so that is why they have gone for the full-fledged attack, and they said that we will eliminate these people from this particular area, this outfit or this organization from this particular area. Okay, because of which there are various civilian casualties, and that is why this region has been in news, and you can say this war has spread to the nearby areas, like when we are talking about the Israel-Iran issue which has happened recently, Israel-Lebanon issue, when we are talking about the Houthi rebels in the Red Sea, all these are interlinked to this particular issue. Okay, now coming to the discussion, the conflict between Israel and Hamas started last year, that is the date October 7, 2023. When we look at the issue of Israel and the Palestinian issue, that is started from the 1940s, it is long back, but as of now, this particular incident happened in the last year, October. Now, this conflict once again revived the age-old dispute between the Israel-Palestine conflict. Okay, so that is there. Balfour Declaration. So when there was Britishers in this particular area, okay, so Britishers in 1970, there was this foreign secretary, that is Arthur James Balfour. He has said that British, or you can say Britain, supports a Jewish nation or national home for Jews in the Palestinian area. Okay, earlier this area was Palestine, and in that particular area they support a Jewish homeland or national home. Okay, so basically that was the Balfour Declaration, which has been declared by the foreign secretary of that particular time, that is Alfred James Balfour. And because of this particular thing, what happened that this idea was not acceptable to Arab countries which are present over there, as well as the Palestinians. So that is how this issue started. Then creation of Palestine in 1948, when there was this issue which is going on between the Jewish, as actually after the Balfour Declaration, what has happened that they thought that now Britain, or you can say UK is with them, and they started, there was this migration which started from world over to this particular area of Palestine. Okay, so Jews started and started to come in this particular area, and they started to settle over here. They started to buy the property in this particular area. Okay, now because of which there was this issue which started between Jews and the Palestinian population. Okay, so there was this conflict which started between the Jews and the Palestinian conflict. There was, violence, etc., which has started, but that violence could not be controlled by UK. UK was the, you can say, UK was controlling that area as a, after the World War. Okay, so in 1948, what happens that UK said that they would be withdrawing for that particular area, or Britain will withdraw from that particular area, and UN was given the responsibility to settle this conflict. And UN was that, at that point of time, it was a nascent body. So UN took the responsibility, and since they saw this problem as a problem of two communities, so they have come up with the idea, or you can say they have come up with the partition plan. Okay, so they have come up with the partition plan to create independent Jewish nation and Arab states in Palestine. So in the Palestine area, that area will be divided in a way that both the communities would live over here. So that they came up with the partition plan in 1948. But that plan was also not you can say acceptable to Arab countries over there, or Arabian populations which were living over there, because they said that is the land which belongs to the Palestinians, and how can you create a nation like that? Okay, so that is why this partition plan came, to make sure that there will be a long lasting peace, but that was not the case. They did not accept it, and because of which they started these various you can say there was Arab Israel war. You must have heard about it. All these things had, I will not go into details of this right now. If you see, this is the area that is basically your West Bank. Okay, and this is your Gaza Strip. Now, when we are talking about these two areas, this is basically a prominent Palestinian settlement as of now. Okay, so when we are talking about this Gaza, which is controlled by Hamas, as I told you, the recent activity or the recent incident, the violence has been started by the Hamas from the Gaza Strip. Okay, so this is the area where Hamas are resident, and then when we are talking about this area, you can see there are settlements which are of the Palestinian population. Okay, the rest part over here is Israel. Other than that, there is this particular strip here, that is Golan Heights. That is important for you, because in 1967 war, what happens that they took two areas. One is the Sinai Peninsula over here, the Sinai Peninsula from the Egypt, and the Golan Heights from the Syria. Israel took over or took the control of these two areas. But in 1973, there was this agreement. With that agreement, the Sinai Peninsula was returned to the Egypt. Okay, but the Golan Heights is still in the you can say control of Israel. Okay, so these are some areas which can be important for you. So you can remember these. That is West Bank, Gaza Strip, Golan Heights, Sinai Peninsula. Other than that, this is Lebanon, where Hezbollah group is quite prominent, and they are also against Israel. And there is somewhere this particular crossing, that is Rafah crossing, which has been in news quite often. So please remember that Rafah crossing. Okay, that is a crossing between Egypt and the Gaza Strip. Okay, now coming to the next part, that is basically what is two-state solution. Now, as I told you, there was this partition plan. Okay, now this solution presents the concept of establishing independent Palestinian state alongside the Israel. Now they are saying that since Israel is there now, so alongside Israel, there should be an independent Palestinian state. Okay, so now this concept is basically two-state solution for two separate states for the two separate communities. Okay, so for Jews there will be Israel, and for Palestinians there will be Palestine. Okay, now that is the idea behind the two-state solution. That was understood as a long-lasting peace, or you can say means to the long-lasting peace in this particular area. Okay, now what is India's role? What is India's stance when we are talking about this October 7th attack? India has clearly said that they are not in favor of such attacks, because these are terrorism in any form is not acceptable to India. Okay, so that is one thing. When we are talking about the Palestinian problem, India has always supported the Palestinian cause. Okay, earlier we had good relations with Palestine. We have this India-Palestine Development Partnership. Okay, to create infrastructure, etc. in Palestine. Okay, and India was one of the first country to grant statehood to the Palestinian in 1988. Okay, so that is the kind of commitment we had towards Palestinians. Afterwards, since you can say after 1990s, we have seen that we have a inclination towards the USA, and Israel is the USA's ally, and our interest also started to lie with Israel because of the certain level of cooperation which has started to happen on the fields of like agriculture, defense, etc., security. So with Israel, India shares a specific relations in the field of defense, science, technology, agriculture. So now we are walking on a thin line that we are trying to maintain a balance between these two countries, but we are still in the favor of Palestinian cause. That is the official, you can say, stand when we are talking about the Palestine. India is in favor of taking two countries forward towards a long-lasting peace. Okay, so that is a diplomatic answer about India's role. Now moving further towards the next article that is related to comprehensive nuclear test ban treaty, because I hope the last two concepts are clear. Now coming to the comprehensive nuclear test ban treaty. Okay, with the name it is clear that it is somehow it has something to do with the controlling the arms races. Okay, now why it was in discussion? Because Russia said that they will revoke the you can say ratification which was given to this particular treaty. Okay, so Russia will revoke its ratification of the comprehensive nuclear test ban treaty. So they have actually signed the document and they have revoked it. Okay, now what is comprehensive nuclear test ban treaty here? So let's see. CTBT basically is a multilateral treaty aims to ban all nuclear explosions. Okay, all nuclear explosions. Here you can say CTBT's root lies in the Cold War era when there were two blocks. One is related to your US, second block was USSR. Now both these countries were trying to have their hegemony and they were trying to go for any you can say accumulation of the arms, etc. At that point of time, they started to go for the nuclear race as well. Okay, but in 1990s or you can say 1989, when there was this disintegration of USSR and the Cold War was ended, when this Cold War ended, so there was this you can say need which was felt that since the Cold War has ended, we can go for the hold or the ban on the nuclear arms races. Okay, so here you can see the end of the Cold War and the dissolution of USSR or Soviet Union created a favorable environment for comprehensive arms control measures. CTBT was negotiated at the Conference of Disarmament in Geneva in 1994, and in 1996 the United Nations adopted CTBT, okay, which imposed the complete ban on the nuclear weapons testing. Okay, now this was signed by 187 countries, but this treaty formally could not be implemented because there are 44 specific countries. They have to ratify it. Okay, but there are certain countries like China, India, Pakistan, North Korea, Israel, Iran, Egypt, and the United States. They did not ratify this particular treaty. As a matter of fact, when we are talking about India, Pakistan, and the North Korea, they did not even sign it. Okay, so that is why it could not come into picture or it could not be implemented. Now here we will see the some treaties which are against the nuclear weapons. Okay, so when we are talking about nuclear weapons, you know that these are, you can say, bombs or missiles that use nuclear energy to cause explosion. So there can be two types of explosion. One is fission or fusion. You know that when we are talking about the hydrogen bombs, this is nuclear fusion, and when we are talking about the atom bombs, this is basically your nuclear fission. Okay, now this has a potential to destroy a whole city. They will have environmental impact, etc. And that is why they thought that there should be a treaty against that, because we had the example of Hiroshima and Nagasaki after the you can say World War II. Okay, so we have come up with the Treaty on Non-Proliferation of Nuclear Weapons, that is NPT 1970s. This is the only treaty which is binding in nature on the 5 nuclear weapon states at that point of time. So it is to prevent the spread of nuclear weapons and its technology, and it is for the peaceful use of the nuclear technology. These are the basic points which are which because it is a static part. Now there are member states when we are talking about 191 with 5 nuclear states. Okay, Russia, USA, UK, France, and China. Nuclear weapon states. Okay, so these are the weapon states, or you can say those who has made the nuclear weapon before 1st January 1967. Now India has made their nuclear weapon after that, so India is not considered a nuclear weapon state in this particular treaty. Okay, now significance, that is only binding treaty to the goal of disarmament by the nuclear weapon states. Okay, as I told you, these nuclear weapon state related binding treaty, this is the only treaty which is binding. Now when we are talking about India and the NPT, so we can say that India along with Pakistan, Israel, North Korea, South Sudan are not member of it. Okay, we are saying that this is discriminatory in nature. They are saying that you should go for the complete disarmament, and after that these nuclear power states will go for the disarmament. Okay, so that is why they are saying that that is having some kind of discriminatory nature, and that is why India did not join it. India has this no first use policy against the non, you can say, nuclear weapon state. And when we are talking about the non-nuclear weapon state, so we do not have any kind of, you can say, we have this particular policy that we will not go for use of nuclear weapon against the non-nuclear weapon state. Okay, if someone is having a nuclear weapon, we will not go for the first use. If someone is not having a nuclear weapon, we will not use a nuclear weapon on such country. So that is our policy. So this is about your NPT. And coming to the MTCR, that is Missile Technology Control Regime. Okay, similarly on the missiles and the UAV, etc., they have this particular ban. Okay, to prevent the proliferation of the missile and the unmanned aerial vehicles, that is UAV technology, capable of carrying more than 500 kg payload in the range of more than 300 kilometers. So this is basically to control the missiles and the unmanned aerial vehicles. Okay, there are 35 members. India is inducted as a 35th member in 2016. So please remember that India is a member of this MTCR. Why? Because being a member of MTCR, there is this particular provision that they will not supply the equipment to the non-MTCR country. Okay, so if you are an MTCR country, so these countries within each other, they can provide you the technology, and there can be a transfer of technology or equipment. Okay, so that is why India wanted to be a member of it, and India became a member of it in 2016. Okay, China is not a member of this particular treaty. Now coming to the last part, that is Comprehensive Test Ban Treaty, which we have already talked about. So you can go through that particular thing. Okay, as I told you, there are certain countries like India, North Korea, and Pakistan. These are the countries, they did not sign CTBT. Okay, and Russia has now come out of it. Okay, I hope this is clear. Now moving to the next part. International Maritime Organization, name clarifies it. Okay, so it is a IMO council which we will be talking about. Last year India was re-elected to the International Maritime Organization Council. So India became you can say it was re-elected again in the last year. So what is this particular organization? So IMO is a specialized agency of United Nations. So one thing is clear, that it is a body of United Nations. Okay, it is responsible for the regulating shipping and the preventing marine pollution from the ship. Okay, so basically when we are talking about this Maritime Organization Council, this is related to your shipping and marine pollution. Okay, they are trying to prevent the marine pollution. Okay, so that is the organization. Here IMO was established after United Nations Conference in Geneva 1948, and it came into existence in 1958. Okay, so this is as simple as that. Now here you can see it has nearly 175 member states, 3 associated states, and headquarters is in London. India joined in 1959. Okay, now the main role of this organization is to create a regulatory framework for the shipping industry. Again, we are talking about reduction, or you can say prevention of the marine pollution because of the shipping, etc. Now that is why we are going for the regulation of these shipping industry. Okay, that is fair, effective, universally adopted, and universally enforced. It is also involved in legal matters including liability and the compensation issues and the facilitation of international maritime traffic. Okay, this is basic point. Now IMO celebrates World Maritime Day. Now World Maritime Day every last Thursday of this September. Okay, so I hope this is clear. Now moving further, Indian Ocean Rim Association. Okay, now you must have heard about this particular body in the Indian Ocean, and it is quite important for us. Okay, last year the conference of Indian Ocean Rim Association was organized in Colombo. The theme was reinforcing Indian Ocean identity. Okay, please remember this particular theme. Now what is this association? So IORA is an intergovernmental organization established to promote economic cooperation and the regional integration among the countries which are bordering Indian Ocean. Okay, so it is clear that when we are talking about the Indian Ocean Rim, they are basically bodies which are present over there, and they are talking about the economical, you can say, integration and the regional integration. Okay, so they are talking about cooperation and integration. Now here you can see IORA member countries work on various initiatives related to the trade, investment, sustainable development, etc. Very common point. And then Indian Ocean Rim Association, established in March 7th, 1997. Okay, there are 23 members which are currently, you can say there are 23 members. These are the names. Here you can see on this particular map here: UAE, Yemen, Oman, Iran, Kenya, Tanzania, Somalia also is a member. Okay, then here we have Mozambique, Madagascar, South Africa, Mauritius, Comoros, Seychelles, Sri Lanka, Singapore, if we see India, Bangladesh, Thailand, Malaysia, Indonesia, and Australia. Okay, so this is basically your Indian Ocean Rim, and these are the member of Indian Ocean Rim Association. Again, you can see the name here: UAE, Yemen, Oman, Iran, India, Bangladesh, Thailand, Singapore, Malaysia, Indonesia, Sri Lanka, Maldives, Somalia, Kenya, Tanzania, Mozambique, South Africa, Seychelles, Comoros, Madagascar, Mauritius, Australia, and France. Now here you will see that there is, we don't have France over here. Okay, but you must have heard about the Reunion Islands. Okay, you can go and see where these Reunion Islands are located in the Indian Ocean region. Okay, these Reunion Islands belongs to France, and that is why France is also a member. Okay, and recently France is quite active in this particular area. Okay, India along with the partnership of the France, they are going for the anti-piracy activities, etc. Okay, joint exercises they are doing in this particular region. That is why please remember that Australia and France are also member. Australia obviously it is present over here, but when we are talking about the France, you can get confused. So specific attention should be given to the France, because Reunion Island is a territory of France. Okay. Now moving further, Indo-Pacific Economic Framework. All these bodies has been in news, and there are chances that they can ask you from these particular bodies. Okay. So why it was in discussion? Because Indo-Pacific Economic Framework for Prosperity decided to organize a clean economy investor forum in Singapore. You don't have to remember this particular name. Just know that there is some body that is Indo-Pacific Economic Framework. When we are talking about Indo-Pacific, it is, most important for USA as of now. Okay. So you can say that it is a USA-led initiative. Okay, here you can say it is US-led initiative that aims to strengthen the resilience, stability, inclusiveness, economic partnership in the Indo-Pacific region. Okay, now this particular organization, when it was launched, there were 12 countries. Right now there are 13 countries plus USA. Okay, so you can say that there are 14 countries. These when we are talking about IPEF, it is not a free trade agreement. Okay, so here it can give you an impression that it is a free trade agreement, but it is not a free trade agreement. But the member countries bilaterally can go for a free trade agreement, and that can provide a platform for the negotiation. Okay, so that is basically, you can say, the purpose behind it, because of the importance of that particular area. Now, what are the 4 pillars? 4 pillars are basically supply chain elasticity. Because of the COVID, we understood one thing, that supply chains should be resilient. We cannot be dependent on one particular country. Okay, then clean energy, decarbonization, infrastructure. So basically they are talking about the sustainable development. Okay, then taxation and the anti-corruption initiatives. Okay, then fair and flexible trade. Okay, its member countries are, these are the countries. Here you can see basically these are the countries. We have India, China, Vietnam, South Korea, Japan, Philippines, Brunei, Australia, Indonesia, Singapore, Malaysia, Thailand. Okay, all these countries. And other than that, New Zealand, we have USA, as I told you, 13 countries plus USA. Okay, one more country here, Fiji is also among them. Okay, so I hope this is clear. Now that is all about this particular session. In the next session, we will talk about some more current affairs which are related to your international relations. With that, I would like to take your leave. If you have not subscribed this channel, please subscribe to the channel. Thank you.
For more informative content, like, share and subscribe, and do not forget to press the bell icon to get the notifications.